Okay, so I'm going to return our JSX. Pretty much I create a new section. And let's create our form. Yeah, form. Just fix this tag. Okay, inside my form, I want to have my input for actual task description. Let's type input, type, equals text. Also, I want to add value. And this value is representing our new task. Placeholder, add a new value or add new task. All right, let's just import our task component here from our components. Actually, no, from the same root. It's in the same root. Okay, task. And also we have to import our use effect from React. Oops. Typo. Use state from React. Fantastic. And another thing we actually have to import is our font awesome icon. And this is an icon for an arrow. For example, when we're actually going to press enter or on this arrow, this is actually submit our form. Okay, let's import our FA arrow right. Okay, I think I have to fix this one. Free, solid, SVG icons. Here we go. Yeah, this is how it should look like. So open in React. This is our component. Yes, I did it right. And now we're just going to edit. Copy, paste on our line 15. Yep. Okay. Let's refresh it. We didn't see any result because we actually have to import it into our application. So import our list component. Okay, import list from component lists. Oops. Oh, I forgot to import this one. We have to actually go back to our list. All right, export default list. Ta-da! So you see this arrow, we did edit with our font awesome. Okay, so on submit, this is our handling function. On submit, we're actually going to create add new task function. And on change, we're going to change our new task value. So event target, set our task to event target value. All right, looks good. So let's create a new variable. It's supposed to actually have our error. Set error. For now, it will be null. So if our new task will not be added or something wrong is going to happen, we're just going to display this error. Okay, so const add new task. This method is going to execute as soon as we submit our form or click on our arrow. Okay, add new task event. First of all, we have to do event prevent default to make sure our form will not just submit. We're just removing our default behavior, and we're going to set error to null. This will be our first value because before, just imagine we have to resubmit it multiple times. So we want to actually set it on null. Kind of anytime when user will press or hit the button, press the arrow or hit enter, we're just going to update our error to null. Okay, now we're actually going to our utils, and I want to validate input. We don't want to have our task empty, or I'm importing it to validate input. So if validate input is true, then we're going to add our task to our array. Okay, validate input, new task, so set task. Okay, so first of all, we want to do previous value, and this is our spread operator, previous new task. And set task to empty. So we're going to reset it. to empty string. Otherwise, else we're going to set our error to incorrect input. For example, make sure your input is correct. Yeah, is correct. So if our validation is failing, then we're going to display an error. Okay, after that, I want to just do console.log to make sure when we click on our arrow or when we hit enter, we actually will get a message task added. Okay, let's just double check. I'm going to click enter and see. Yeah, task was added. Right now, what we're going to do, I want to create a list, display our list. Display our list values. So our task pretty much. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to create a new variable that actually is going to hold all our tasks, and we call it all tasks and set all tasks. Use state. So if it's less than 0, we're going to display no task found. Otherwise, we're actually going to display them all. All task map. Here we're going to take task and index and display task with a key and a value. Okay, so add new task test. This task was added, but if you see, we have nothing. We just have a cross. But our task is not actually displaying anything. I assume it's just because my AI did give me a wrong attribute. So if we're going back to task and we're seeing our props, we have task description instead. So I'm just changing my task to task description, and now it should work. Okay, just want to save it to make sure it's all good. Also, I want to give it is active attribute. It's supposed to run a certain method, certain function, or in updated mode is also going to run, it's our callback, right? We're listening for our callback, but right now, expression expected. Okay, I forgot something. Okay, just let's do this. Event remove our task. This is what's going to execute. Even we don't have our method yet, I just want to type it. So in update mode, we're just going to run our handle update function. So we're passing index and we're passing our task, because that's two things we need. We need an index in our array and we need our task. So let's remove task. Let's create this method. First of all, const remove task equals, oops, wrong one, index equals, okay. In our parentheses, I'm in curly braces, we're just creating now our new list. We're going to use filter method in JavaScript and pretty much create a new array that will not have this particular value as this index. Our first parameter is our name and our task itself, and I is index representation. So pretty much we want to say if our I does not equals to our index we just passed, we're just going to kind of sort this array and filter it. And this new array is not going to include our task with an index that equals our past index. So right now we're going to set our task, set all task to this new list we just created. Simple. Okay, cool. So another thing what we can do, we can just change it to different name, because maybe is active, it will be not the best one. So let's just name it trigger DL removal. Let's just do trigger removal, and I'm going to pass it on line 28 because is active is not that descriptive. Like, what does it mean is active? So I'll just do trigger removal. Also, I'll change it in our thing. So right now, let's create update task. So right now I have a lot of errors. Task is not defined. Handle update is not defined. Well, we're going to fix that. Well, tasks. First of all, it's like all task. Okay, that's the wrong name here. I fixed that. Handle is not defined because we haven't created it yet. So let's just do it right now. Const. In our case, this will be update task. It should be equals. Again, we have to pass index and task. All right, handle update. Okay, it should be different. Okay, index, task. Okay, also we have to create our new variable that pretty much will just display our in update mode, false, yes, or true or false. Okay, right now it will be false because we have no task initially. That's why when we actually click on our form, it will display editing. I mean, editing, not editing. So in task to update, we'll have two properties. It will be index and it will be content. For now, it will be null for both. And here, set update mode, we're going to turn it true. For example, when user selected our task, press on it, we are right now in update mode. And then we actually want to set our index to index we just passed and our content to this task that was just passed. And again, spread operator, previous. We have our update, we have our removal. Another thing we actually have to do is update actual task. Okay, so if our task is valid, again, we don't want any empty tasks. We want to have it more than 100, less than 120, so between 120 and 0. So in this case, what we're going to do, we're creating a new list. We're just taking our all tasks, right? We're assigning to our tasks, and then we select a certain ID, we're selecting a certain index. In our case, will be new list index. We just passed in our update, right? And then we're just going to change it. Because right now we already have our task to update set all task, selecting our new list. Yes, new list. Old value to a new value, and just set our new list. And also we have to do false update mode. Right now, I'm going to create a form for editing, right? Because right now this is form for editing. I'm not going to create kind of a new form. I'm just going to copy and paste it and display the same form. If it's like for editing, our title will be editing. If it's editing, our title for this form will be editing. Okay. So if in update mode, I want to just display a new form, just going to copy all this. Okay. And just a little bit fix here. Let's just move it a little bit to the right. So on submit, we're just going to update task, right? Because before we had to add new task, on submit, we update it. So H1, our heading will be editing, edit your task. So it's more obvious for a user what's going on right now. So edit your task. I actually have to fix it because right now it's just showing. I'll just put it all in one div container. Okay, cool. Remember, because we actually have to wrap our elements into a parent component and into a parent element. Otherwise, we'll just have errors everywhere. If in update mode, we're just displaying editing, and on click, we're going to update task instead of adding a new one. Okay, so we actually have to pass something, right? Task to update, update task, task to update index, and task to update content. Fantastic. Okay. And the same thing for our on submit update task. And we have to make sure, oops, let's do different parentheses. Update to update index and task to update content. Okay, task to update content. Also, we're going to change, as soon as our value is changing, we're going to set it up, set task to update, event, previous event target value. So the same index, but our text is actually going to change. Index will be the same, but our content will be different. And this is how we help our React to remember that. Okay, content equals event target value. Also, we want to set error to null. Okay. Let's see, let me fix parentheses. Okay, looks good to me. And let's try to add a new task, test. Okay, we have our test, and now I click delete. It did remove it. Fantastic. It worked as intended. Right now, let's just try to press and see. For some reason, it did not really work. Okay, let's try this one. Event, and then update task. Okay, let's try again. Event, prevent, default. Update task. Let's try again. Refresh it. Test. And let's try to click on it. Oh yeah, edit your task. Fantastic. So now we actually feed my puppy. Okay, we could actually edit our newly created task. What if I want to buy a car? Yep, it did work. Okay, fantastic. Test. Okay, let's remove this, remove this. Okay, our next step right now, we are not going to use database, right? But we can use actually a local storage. Let's go to our application. And do you see this local storage here? What I want to do, I want to actually load our data from local storage. All your saved task will be loaded from there. So even after refreshing, you're not going to lose it. Okay, to do that, we actually have to do one thing. All right, I'm going to command setup reading from local storage. We're going to use our hook, React hook use effect, and inside I'm going to define a variable, local storage, set item. Pretty much what we're going to do, set item, we give it a name, list, maybe task list. Yeah, let's do task list. And our second parameter is actually JSON, stringify, all tasks. So what it does, we're setting our local store item, right? And it's just going to store our array. And it's just going to trigger every time when our all tasks will be updated. Okay. And here we're going back to line 12. And instead of actually setting our initial state to null, we're going to create variable to-dos. And we're going to read all these values. Local storage, get item, we call it task list, and that's it. Another thing, we just do initial value equals JSON, initial value equals JSON.parse, and we're just parsing our to-dos. And we're just returning our initial values, or if it's empty, we're just going to return our empty array. This is it. Okay, now we actually can check it out. All right, let's go. Okay, yeah, looks like I did, oh yeah, on the line 29, instead of task, it should be all tasks. Yes, because every time when it's updated, we're going to trigger this use state. All right, let's add a new task, for example, buy food, and see how the value in our local store did change. Let's add another one, get groceries, it's updated. Feed my cat, again, it's updated. And now, if I'll refresh it, it's all there. Only one thing we have to do right now is CSS.